Hey, what's up, everyone? It's been a minute. So, where have I been? If you've been in the Discord or if you looked at the community page or on Twitter, you would see I had a little bit of health issues and I had to take a little bit off. And I'm not better per se. Um, No, I'm not. I'm not better at all. Honestly, the last week has been worse for me. I'm going to try to do things when I can. I just kind of wanted to make this post to let people know how I'm doing and get my thoughts out on everything. I was doing really good like a month ago. I uploaded quite a bit, pretty frequently. And it got to the point where I almost doubled my growth in, if I kept up that trajectory, I would have doubled my growth in another week or two of doing that. But life happens. So what happened? The first thing was depression. I'm pretty open about my mental health stuff. I don't want it to be like I'm trauma dumping. I never want that to be the case, but I do want to have this be a place where I can let people know that mental health is more prevalent than we put on. When depression hits, it hits. So that was the first weekish. A big thing was the last 3 weeks I've had midterms. Midterms haven't been all the same week. It was all my classes decided to stagger them, and that's been rough because the midterms are 20 to 40% of my grade. That, while you're depressed and have no motivation to do anything, is not fun. The last week has gotten a little worse, just with mood swings. I've always been a fairly, I wouldn't say zen person. I'm not super stereotypical monk stuff. I was at some point, but I've always been really good at managing my emotions. I would realize when I'm sad or getting depressed, and I had a lot of self-care stuff that would help, and it wasn't helping. And then my sleep schedule got really bad. It got to the point where I would get back at 7 p.m., take a 3-hour nap, and then go to bed at 5 a.m., and then wake up at 8, and then go to classes and do lab. And my parents moved, so I was helping them move a bunch of stuff. Yeah, no, it was rough. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. So the last 2-ish weeks, that's been my sleep schedule. I'm slowly fixing it. I went to bed at a decent time last night. So I just wanted to discuss a little bit about what to do when you're in these kinds of positions, because I've been dealing with stuff like this most of my life. It happens. What can you do? The thing that helps me the most, usually, my big self-care thing, is running. I find it really changes just everything about my day, in terms of I can have a day where I feel like the worst, most unproductive piece of crap, and then I run, and then even if it wasn't even a good run, I feel like, man, maybe life has some pretty cool things, you know? That is to say, make sure that you have at least some things that you identify as something that makes you stop feeling the way you are for a little bit. Other things I've done in the past is listen to music, play piano, play games, and just be okay with not doing anything for a bit. One thing is to constantly remind yourself that you can have these days. People do this way more than you think. I know a lot of the message in society is that everyone's able to wake up, go to a 9 to 5, come back home, take care of kids, or work on their 80 side businesses, cure cancer, research how to grow wings so we can fly, and invent the DeLorean all in one day. That's not like a thing that people do. Like, so many things affect us in everyday, things that we don't even know affect us. So give yourself some leeway into, you know, maybe some days I wake up and me pushing myself is getting out of bed. The next big thing for me was recognizing that I don't need to be as consistent as I pushed myself to be. I think a lot of the last couple of months, you guys have seen me try and be like, you know, I need to just lower my standard and be consistent. I don't need to do anything. I'm not required to do YouTube. Like, I love it. It's something that brings me so much joy. But like any hobby, you have to recognize that there's peaks and valleys. Everything is different, you know? And that was a big thing that I struggled with because I felt I owe you all, you know, updates, content, support. I don't want my channel to just be me being like, hey guys, I was gone for a week. That's crazy. Wait another month and then the next video is the same thing. I never want that to be my thing. I want to just do what I want to do. Life doesn't have as many rules as you think, you know? The biggest thing about that was I found that the pressure to be consistent was stressing me out a lot and making me ironically fail to be consistent. Because I would stop myself from doing ideas because they would take too much time. I would get burned out. And, you know, I would just have like weeks of time where YouTube was my whole life. And that's it. So the next thing that I realized during all of this was I'm a lot more extroverted than I thought, which is surprising, especially if you interact with me or have like collaborated with me or plan to, because I feel like everyone knows my communication with people is so horrendous and I'm so sorry. I am terrible at responding. I'm terrible at reaching out. I get so stressed. However, I need people and it's hard to deal with that. That definitely contributed to a lot of why the last couple of weeks have been so hard. My closest friend has been traveling the last 3 weeks, and even just calling someone up and talking to them drastically improved my mood. So what's the plan now? I am going to try to not make any promises. I'm going to do what I can when I can. If you want more updates, I mainly do updates in the Discord just because it's the easiest way for me to do stuff. And I don't want my channel posts to always be me talking about how everything's going crazy. I've been so stressed. I have a lot in my life right now. Between classes, midterms, applying for graduate school, lab work, parents moving, it's been challenging to find time to do this. And that says nothing about my enjoyment of this. I love YouTube and content creation and interacting with all of you. it brings me so much joy. That being said, it's still a commitment in general. So we'll see how things go. I'm gonna plan on doing Tuesday talks. I'm in the process of scheduling a day of the week where I don't do anything other than either work on YouTube stuff for that day and or rest. So, you know, I want to stop having weeks where I don't do anything. It just, life is crazy and gets ahead of me. So thank you for your understanding and patience and all that stuff. I am planning on recording another video right after this, so look forward to me not disappearing for another 3 weeks. I don't want this to be a trauma dump thing or you guys to treat me as like some sensitive little kid. I'm an adult. I can deal with this stuff. I'm good. I'm way better than I have been in the past. And I have so much resources that I can take advantage of. And the purpose of all this stuff is just for me to, one, let myself think through stuff, two, give you guys updates, and three, let you guys know that even the people who look like they have it the most put together have some hardship in their life that you probably don't know about it. So, you know, I'm hoping anyone can relate to this stuff and feel less alone. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye-bye. I need to find a new way to do outros. I can never wink. Okay, get out of here.